Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Project Veterans Voices. Today, we're going to have a fireside chat. We got some of the crew, and we got Tom Smith here. But before we get into the episode, are you enjoying the podcast? Well, make sure you go to the website. That's thelostart.podbean.com. Go check us out, see what we're all about. You can go in there, go in that merchandise tab. You can go in there, get you some cool gear. You can get your hat, shirt. I mean, there's all kinds of goodies in there. But anything you do get there helps us here at the podcast. And big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project, man. They're out there doing some amazing things. If you don't know anything about the Till Valhalla Project, you need to go check them out. You can always find them at tillvalhallaproject.com. Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. All right, here we are. We're back, man. We got everybody here raring to go. Mike has never looked any better than what he does right this second. But wait, there he is. There he is. Mike, how you doing over there?
Yeah, I'm doing good here, Andrew, in Southwest Georgia.
Very nice. Very nice.
It's colder than average in this area, but I can't complain. I mean,
yeah.
That's what Andrew, you and I were talking before the podcast. You know, everybody in this area's got their designer cold weather gear on, so. You know, it's
got to get them mugs out.
I think this morning when I let the dogs out at 6 a.m., it was 27. It's been like that for off and on, but then it gets cold. Then it's going to be, I think, Saturday they're calling for 75.
Nice.
And then Sunday it's supposed to get down into below freezing again and hard freeze and rain. So we'll see.
Yeah. Wow. Well,
it's that time of year here in Southwest Georgia, but it's been odd this winter.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Very nice. All right. Well, we'll jump out. Let's go out to California there. I know it's rough out there, and I don't know how he puts up with it, but Mark, how you doing?
Oh, outstanding, Andrew. Bright sunshine, clear skies, gentle breeze, 82 degrees today. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Once again, prices, politics, and politicians. This is just they just wrecked this place. It's horrible.
Yeah.
You know what these California freaks are trying to do now? They're trying in San Diego County here. If you own a second home and you're not actually using it, they want to put this massive tax on you. It's crazy. It's just they think of ways. You remember Balboa Park?
Yeah.
And how nice it is, you know, free museums and all kinds of free stuff down there, free parking. Well, lo and behold, the mayor, this clown shoe, they went out and them and the city council, they decided to make the parking paid parking for Balboa Park.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible.
It hasn't ever been paid parking. At least that I know of.
No, it never has. It never has. And so the parking lots are empty, you know, compared to what they used to be. That's for sure. But it's just one other thing. It's, you know, this government is so corrupt out here, worse than Minnesota. The government out here is just so corrupt that they have to find other ways to bring in income because someone's stealing so much and they're giving it away to everybody else.
Yeah.
It's just it's hard to live here sometimes when you're paying these prices.
Well, I mean, you do have the weather, so you do have that going for you.
It is a sunshine tax, I guess.
All right. Oh man, we got Tom Smith with us tonight. Tom, how are you doing?
Good, Aaron. Good to see you again. I was on here about a year ago.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Glad things are still going well.
Very nice. And now, where are you located again?
Everything here, man. I'm in Virginia. You guys don't impress me, man. It's 17 degrees here right now, okay? And we got like 3 feet of ice snow. So, you know, the warm weather doesn't really do a whole lot for me, but enjoy it. I like to have like one day of 82 degrees to get rid of all this ice. But, yeah, and I'll have to say, Mark, you know, you guys get all the glory out there for craziness in California. We just brought in a governor that's trumping you guys. I mean, she's getting national attention because it's,
I've heard.
It overnight, man. It's pretty sad, but and this is a beautiful state, good people, and in just a matter of days, it's just all kind of been destroyed. But God's good; He'll take care of us, and I'll just keep on doing my thing and keep my head down and keep doing what I'm doing. Can't do but so much, and just let her. I can't wait for Trump to come down here. Jap slap that girl. But anyway, so yeah, man. Everything other than that, man, life is good, dude. Life is good.
Oh man. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into it. Tom, you got some stuff. We're going to talk about some good things, I think. What do you got for us, Tom?
Well, the last time I was on here, I've been an advocate for veterans for quite a long time. When I lived in Montana for 27 years. So this cold weather here doesn't really do a whole lot for me because, it's been colder there. I've been there for a month when it was like 35 below for like a month at a time. So it's just the older I get, the harder it gets on me. Do you know what I mean? I'm built for comfort, man. I could come out and hang out with Mark, but then I don't want to get caught up in all that mess either. But, so I've just, the vast majority of my life, I've been a veterans advocate. I've always cared about them. I worked for the Department of Corrections here for a year, and I had a pod that I had that was veterans, and we had a veterans group. Believe it or not, there was 80 guys, man, in the veterans group that was in the prison that I got to work with those guys.
Wow.
And so, I ran a home for homeless veterans in Montana for a while, and it was all veterans, and so it was kind of different. Marine veterans a little bit different than Air Force and Navy vet. You know what I mean? We all served, but a little bit different mentality. You know what I mean?
True.
And so that's just really been my passion, and that's what I've been doing is counseling. And I was a part. Mark was talking about his organization out in California that he's a part of. I was the president of Warrior Wishes in Montana for a while, which is the same thing. Okay. Mark, it's built. We raise all this money, and like 97% goes back to helping veterans that fall between the cracks with the VA. The VA doesn't pay your gas or your electric or your food or your broken down car or clothes or whatever. They did that. And one of the organizations I want to give a shout out to is Navigational Network, founded by a former Army guy. And he took this, and I met him when he was just him. And it's now a enormous organization making a huge impact, raising hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so, these two guys that are out in Billings, man, are friends of mine. And I want to give a shout out to those guys a bit. But I had my hands in everything in Montana when it came to veterans because I guess I can speak a little bit. And so people always want to that would be easy. They're phenomenal dudes. Both of them are Army guys. Both of them are veterans. Both of them were wounded pretty badly. And so, but they're out there doing what they do. And it was an honor, to be a part of all those guys. It's always an honor to be a Marine, but I love all the guys and gals that raise their right hand and do everything I can, to kind of help them. So really mental health advocacy, if you really want to, narrow it down to specifically,
right.
So I become certified in numerous areas. I was one of the first ones in the country that was certified as moral injury specialist through the Shea Institute, which is basically veteran on veteran. It's not dealing with doctors and medicine and all this other crap that doesn't really work. It's just veterans helping veterans. And so that's why I wanted to come back on, man, because if we can reach one person, just one, and let him know or let her know that their life is worth something, they don't need to be a part of the 22 a day. That's really my kind of passion and calling.
Very nice. Yeah. And I was just had somebody on today, and they were talking about veteran suicide, as a matter of fact. And they had somebody that was close to them that, I guess it was someone that's close to her that his or her kid that committed suicide. So, it's tough to see that. And I don't know how many people you've seen, Mark, Mike, I don't know. Even you, Tom, I've known a couple that have, but luckily for me, I haven't been too close to them.
I've only lost one, and it was a 30-year-old female, and she was absolutely precious. She was a Navy veteran, and she had TBI and a multitude of other things. A bomb fell off one of the jets on the flight deck and hit her in the head, and the VA just could not get her in time. And so on Christmas, she took her life. She hung herself in the bathroom. But other than that, I've pretty much been able to help walk other people through it. I've been a part of multiple suicide prevention organizations and certifications and things like that. And, you know, my message always is, you know, I'm a living testimony of complex PTSD, you know, and I've made it all these years, and, you know, by the grace of God, I'm still here.
Right.
But I understand what darkness looks like. And I mean, I'm not trying to be doom and gloom or anything, but I'm just, you know, I just want people to know, man, you can get better. You can get help. You can make a difference. You can be a good dad and a good husband and a good father, you know, all that stuff. And because we get caught up in all the rhetoric. And I just want people to know, man, that there's, you know, if I can do it, anybody can.
Yeah, the biggest thing with that is you've got to be able to surround yourself with people that actually care and like-minded people. I mean, that's the biggest thing, and that's one thing Andrew's done on this podcast is, you know, when you are able, you know, as veterans, we won't talk. We don't talk. We're not going to sit there. You know, as Marines, we'll, you know, kind of go on about, you know, the guy I work with is in the Army, and of course, he and I always jab back and forth with each other, you know, Army, you know, Marine Corps, stuff like that. But, you know, it's veterans with veterans will talk. Just sit and go talk to some random person, it's hard. But you've got, and Mark has talked about this, you have to take that step, first of all, and surround yourself with like-minded people. And that, you know, that's the first step, and it's really hard for a lot of us to do that. To surround yourself with like-minded people.
It took me 42 years.
Absolutely. Yeah, to be able to sit there and talk, and it's amazing. You know, Andrew does these, he interviews people, and they're like, I don't have anything to say. And you watch some of these, and it's like, you had a lot to say. You know, it's interesting. It's interesting how we're all so different, but we're all the same.
That's
you know, and it.
Well, if you raise your right hand, we've all walked in the same shoes. You know what I'm saying? Regardless.
Yeah. Well, we all had different jobs. We all had different roles. We all, you know, Mark saw stuff that I didn't see. Tom, I can't speak for you. I don't know. You know, but you know, we all experienced some level of unity and some common bond, and all of a sudden, one day, it ended.
Yeah.
And that's an extremely hard thing for a lot of us to deal with. It shouldn't be if you got friends, family, but even friends, it's hard sometimes to talk to them because they just don't get it.
Yeah.
They don't understand, you know, especially us as Marines, you know, got this extremely weird sense of humor that a lot of people don't get. You know, and I'll say things and they're like,
we live in a different world, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's all, you know, it goes back to, you know, you watch movies or anything, but we've all experienced it that, you know, and that's one thing I've talked to my wife about, and she's like, why do you do this sometimes? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? And I can't explain it. And it's probably extremely pathetic for me to say it. And I've talked to other people about it, but deep down inside, for me, sometimes I have to suffer. I actually have to hurt to actually see the better side of everything sometimes. And I don't know how to explain that. I really don't know how to explain that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like sometimes
hardwired.
Yeah. Sometimes, you know, the hurt makes me feel better because when I see the other side of it, it's like, all right, I'm better now.
Yeah.
You know, and that may sound extremely weird to, you know, the three of you and anybody else, but that's just me. But that's me talking to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's like, all right, I'm on the other side of it now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I would tell you, when people come on and they start talking, and you'd be surprised at how much people will indulge and talk about when it's a veteran with a veteran, especially Marine with a Marine. They'll go way in more detail and you know, explain a lot more, what have you. it's truly amazing to see that.
But Tom, you said you spent a lot of
Well, I
time
mean,
with veterans in prisons.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, what was
Yes,
that
that's,
like?
you
I
know, so
mean, to
you,
be able to sit there and people that have supposedly failed in life, but to actually listen to their stories, and it's like, okay, well, maybe you get it, maybe you don't from your perspective, but it's like, okay, well, I kind of see why you're here, or you know, that's got to be a therapy in itself, right there.
it was really difficult because if you're in prison, I mean, you want to talk about PTSD. I mean, the way they're treated is just beyond horrific. And then you throw the fact that every one of these guys is, you know, they all have their own story, regardless of their branch or service. There's a lot of young ones has combat PTSD. So I mean, that's even worse. And you know, to be in a room full of 80 guys, man, that raise their right hand, you know, there's still that brotherhood. There's still that love and respect for each other. It's a very, very, very sad world. I was really extremely fortunate to be able to walk into that and to get those positions. I was a COG counselor. And so to be able to sit and visit with those guys, but there's only so much you can do to get them help because the Department of Corrections could really care less. But they had their own group, so they like to do their Veterans Day thing. And they, you know, for Christmas, they have nothing, and they went and they would all combine, and they would bring stuff to be able to take to senior citizens' homes, and they were always trying to give to the community from inside prison. And you know, half of these guys were life sentence dudes. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome.
It's just you know, the human spirit, the human will,
Absolutely.
right there.
Wow.
No,
Now, I was lucky enough to grow up around prisons myself, as my dad was a prison minister. So I had my fair share of going to prisons. Now, I wasn't in any capacity of leadership of any nature. I was just some young kid.
Okay, looks like we're
tagged along. Uh-oh.
Well, you know, I just, you know, so, you know, to answer your question. Oh yeah, sorry about that. It looked like it timed out for a second. But yeah, well, that was really difficult, but it was a great opportunity to be able to be there and represent them and help them, you know, to communicate to the outside world. But you know, you guys were, you know, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with this. Clinicians, I don't have. It's not that I don't have disrespect for them. It's just that, like you were saying, Mike. Let me just confirm. We're not going to sit down with a clinician from XYZ degree from XYZ college who's never walked in our shoes, because you don't have a clue about dickety dick. You know what I'm saying? So I would have my guys come into my office that just got off of their VA conference with their VA clinician counselor, and they're like, that was the biggest waste of my damn time. And you know, because they don't understand. So are you guys familiar with the term moral injury? Have you guys heard of that?
yes,
I haven't.
yes. I was I retired as the sergeant major for the Wounded Warrior Battalion West at Camp Pendleton, and then I helped build a not-for-profit organization called Psych Armor. Our specific mission was to travel the country and train medical and mental health professionals on how to build a rapport with a veteran. So yeah, I'm well aware of moral injury.
Let me explain to those people that might be watching this. Clinicians, now I'm talking about, I went to XYZ college, I got a piece of paper that says I'm smart. They don't even know what the hell that is. So moral injury is, everybody knows PTSD is of the brain. Moral injury is of the soul. Now, you don't need to be a combat vet to have moral injury. If you raised your hand, especially in the Marine Corps, you know, what are you trying to say? I was in supply and logistics, and I have complex PTSD. I mean, it wasn't a cakewalk, but what I did was become certified. And this is what's beautiful. And then to your point, Mike, we will talk to each other. So the gist of moral injury is veterans helping veterans, mentoring each other, because Mike, I might not have had your MOS, but I understand what you're feeling. You know, Mark, I wasn't your rank, but I understand what you're feeling, because the brain is the brain is the brain, and it all processes the same way. And what you're talking about, Mike, that you're feeling is a hardwire that we get when we go into the military that we don't unwire when we get out, which leads to 22 a day. And that's what people don't understand. But moral injury is veterans talking to veterans. And when they fight, I cannot tell you how many times I would talk to a veteran and they're like, man, I've never told anybody that in my whole life. My gosh, I feel so much better. And it would just kill me because they would come into my office and talk for 45 minutes and I wouldn't say a word. And they're like, thank you. Oh my God, you've helped me so much. I feel so much better. And I never said a word. I'm like, I know I'm brilliant, right? I know, but they had a chance to tell that baggage story. And that is what moral injury is all about. We've all suffered in some way, shape, or form at different levels. But if the way that we were treated in most cases and talked to and things like that, especially as old school Marines, it's not like it is today. It damages the soul, which basically is the definition of it is feeling of self-worth, not feeling good enough, feeling guilty, feeling ashamed. That's what comes with a lot of veterans, regardless of what we did, because of the way that we were treated and the way we acted. But I just hope that someday, man, people can get Mark. I'd love to learn more about what you were doing because my whole passion is just helping one man up, next man up, and helping them, letting them know that what you're feeling is because of this reason. This is what causes you to think this way, do these things. The people don't understand the 22 a day. This is going to be a shock to a lot of people. Eventually, once the brain is hardwired and it gives up, it will take you down the path of suicide. And so many people are like, man, I wish I could have done something. I wish I would have done this or I would have done that. Your brain is the most powerful thing on the planet. And if you don't know how to control it, it will control you. And eventually you're going to get to the path to where there's no light and you're going to basically withdraw and say, I give up. And your brain's telling you, if you end it, this pain will end. And then there's 22 a day. And not even, the statistics for civilian world's even worse. But anyway, I'm not going to get on a soapbox or take up all your time, but I'm super passionate about getting the word out. You can. But I did.
That leads into alcoholism and everything else, though, right? That's
the painkiller. That's the legal painkiller.
Yeah, that's yep.
And it is difficult, like to what Mark was talking about, where you went around. You were helping civilian doctors and stuff, and learning how to speak to and speak to veterans. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was a 5-day program. I would teach the first 2.5 days. I'd go from the Department of War, Department of Defense then, but all the way down to say like a Marine fire team, and then help them understand how we think, what they've been through. And I tell them they're not going to talk to you, and you're going to have to find some way to build that rapport with the knowledge that you're gaining here and the knowledge you're going to leave here and go research even more. Maybe go read a book on combat or something like that, so that you have some more references. Because and Andrew, you remember her, Marjorie Morrison, from the depot. She's the one she was the founder of Psych Armor that I helped. So I would teach the first 2.5 days, and she would teach the psychiatrist side of the house and what she used to learn how to talk to veterans, and we'll talk to active duty, which led to talking to veterans. But like you said, they're not going to talk to you. The clinicians, if they don't have any type of military background, military contact whatsoever, they're not going to know, and they're going to be afraid. They're going to believe all the bullshit myths about PTSD and a veteran and stuff like that.
Correct.
Very true.
And so they've got this prejudice already in their mind from their college days. And so there's something that needs to be done, because the VA hospitals farms everybody out because they don't have enough psychiatrists that work for the VA.
Right.
So you go out to a civilian shrink, and maybe sit through one session, and you never go back.
Well, I literally have been dealing with that. I had a civilian therapist when I was in Virginia, and I went to her, and the first, I'd say 2-3 times that I went to see her, it was very strange, awkward. And then she built a rapport with me, and we eventually were able to get through a lot of things. But then I came here, and I went to the therapist here, and like there's no interaction. It's just how are you feeling? This and it's just very blunt.
You want this medication?
And I'm like, I get
Go.
nothing out of that. So
yeah,
I
if you
didn't
don't,
know.
I mean, you've got to be able to connect with somebody like that. That's the thing. If you don't have a connection, and that's where as veterans, we need to be able to move on to the next. Okay, where's the next one that I can? It doesn't matter whether, you're not a veteran or not. I mean, even if you're in a medical field or law enforcement or anything and you go to a counselor, there's just sometimes you're not going to have a damn connection.
True.
I mean, there's got to be, and that goes with what's Tom's saying. It's like you have somebody, it's like, well, this is what the book says. It's like, I don't give a damn what your book says. All I care is what we're talking about right now.
Okay.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, because what they're trained to do is do this assessment, check all the boxes, then go in the DSM-5 and go, this is what your diagnosis is. This is the pills that we're going to prescribe for you. Interestingly enough, I was recently with my girlfriend was got her PhD in counseling. She's been doing it for like 20 some years and her LPC. And she would sit and we would have conversations, and she was absolutely blown away by little old country boy me from here in Virginia with only certification. She's like, I have never heard anything like this. And I'm like, because you're not a veteran. The missing piece that the clinicians don't understand, and you guys have heard it, when you go into the military, they tear you down and they build you up. It's called rewiring. In order for us to be able to adapt and live in a particular world, especially that jacked up Marine Corps world that we lived in, so now you're taking all of this history of trauma and everything that we've encountered. Then they go into the military. I did a whole segment on this on a podcast, 10-show podcast one time. Then you take all that, then you take us and put us into boot camp. I went to Paris Island, hoorah. And so they rewire, regardless if it's California.
It's not Hollywood.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where we go through. They rewire your brain. Then you go into your MOS. And if you're combat, that's going to rewire your brain. And there's the neural pathway of all your PTSD trauma. And then, like you said, Mike, we get to this day where we're like, okay, thanks a lot. Here's your discharge papers. Go home. You're not unwired, and clinicians don't know what they've never seen or understand that because they don't teach it in colleges and universities. They just teach theory and make sure you get to the DSM-5 and make sure they get all this medication. And it's like they don't understand. Rewiring is cognitive behavior. It can be done, but nobody really understands that whole process. And that's the missing link that I found with clinicians, because they don't take into consideration how we are wired. We don't think like little Susie and little Johnny. You know what I mean? We might look like them, but they don't understand. And that's been the missing link. And so when I talk to veterans, I understand going in your branch, when you served, your age, put in all of these different dynamics. And it's not from the DSM-5, it's just from personal experience. And that's the real missing piece. And until we can bridge the gap on that, and they're even fighting because you're talking about moral injury. The fight is between the clergy, because it's of the soul. So we know God is not the soul. And then you have clinicians going, oh no, but I'm really educated. I got a degree from XYZ college in psychology. And these two guys are, instead of putting their heads together going, let's work like you're saying, Mark, let's educate you so you can do a better job reading a book from a teacher that has been doing this for 25 years, but never done the job. They just taught how to write a paper. You know what I'm saying? And that stick goes way up my ass when you start getting into that. I'm sorry. That's what
you know what,
man. That's what triggers me. You know what I'm saying?
Hearing you say all that, I think that they should look into even if a senior enlisted
hiring me. That's what I'm talking about. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. Even if it's a senior enlisted Marine that didn't get a degree or whatever, they should still have them in the those departments for those veterans. That way they can sit down with somebody they know and they feel comfortable with and can have those conversations. And then somehow that gets circulated through the staff or what have you. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but get some.
Mark probably has all this stuff down.
He
probably have materials, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Mark's already put all this stuff together from what it sounds like. I mean, he's already kind of wrote the blueprint. You know what I mean?
That's true.
And the lady that I was counseling, or that was my girlfriend, that we wanted to put together a whole entire veterans program. And I had such an impact and influence on her. She now, with her new LPC, is working with equine therapy and hooked up with Rising Star to be able to work with veterans. She was so impacted by my life as a veteran that her entire, and she's only in her early 50s, so her entire program that she's building is now wrapped around veteran services, because she was so
very cool.
Stricken with, just the darkness of it. And now she's counseling veterans and the females who had a different walk than us. And we know what we're talking about, the trauma that she just gets off her sessions with Zoom with her clients, and she just sits there and just is like numb. And that's the world. But hey, the good news is we can get better if we just need each other to be able to tell each other that we can. And that, Mike, when you're having a down day, this is what's happening, bro. Breathe, get through it, live one day at a time, live one moment at a time, take one step at a time. And I mean, it took her to get me for 42 years of hiding, you know what I'm saying, to go to counseling, because I got tired of hearing it, because I knew it was true, but I'm always the one helping. I didn't want to be on the other side and tell my story. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's
the problem is you can't help anybody else until you help yourself. You can't help anybody else until you help yourself.
Well, I helped a lot of people. I just kept it deep inside, but
yeah, but we're all guilty of that.
Is helping each one of these people. Right. We all carry that.
But wait, the way Mark is, he always pulls out the knife hand, and he pulls out the Sergeant Major knife hand, and he's like,
"I'll counsel you."
It's a joke. It's a joke.
I got a couple of those counselings. I know. I'm just kidding.
No, believe me, especially as a first sergeant, sergeant major, I tell you what, I've done more marriage counseling than I care to even admit.
Yeah.
Oh my
God. That's an untapped thing that the VA is missing out on, I think, is that senior enlisted perspective that deals with that day to day. That's especially the sergeant major, first sergeant world. Those are the guys that need to be there, and because they have been through it, they've seen them all. They've dealt with everything.
They went through it, and then they dealt with it.
Yes,
exactly. Like I said, I used to get them in my office. I said, okay, there's your story, there's her story, somewhere in the middle. That's the truth. That's what's really going on. But they don't want to look. No one wants to look at it like that. They only want to take care of themselves.
That's true. Wow.
Some of the things that I've seen that's been really bad, was sad, is I had a veteran who was 75 years old, and he came in and I was talking to him, and I immediately realized, listening to him after his 4 marriages, and he's been a truck driver for 40-some years because he can't stand being around people. And it was 15 minutes into the conversation. I looked at him. I'm like, brother, you're still in the jungles of Vietnam. You're still in fight or flight. And he goes, what? And I'm like, dude, you're sitting right here at 75 years old, 4 marriages and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of miles driven to stay away from people. And you've never come out of the jungles of Vietnam. And I mean, the shock, but also after I talked to him, he's like, I got to go call my now wife, because I don't want to get another divorce. He goes, I'm going to go tell her, what you said. And there's just guys will talk to me, and I immediately, it's kind of a gift, but it's also when you walk in somebody's shoes, you don't have to sing the song very loud before you know the lyrics. And so, it's over, and it's the same thing, but that's just a part of being a veteran. It's a blessing and a curse, but I'm super proud of what we've done, and we all are, but we just need to educate. Man, I would love to be able to get on a bigger stage somewhere and just be able to educate society on who we are. Everybody's like, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. You don't know what that means. That's just a cute little saying that doesn't really change our life. But let me explain to you what that actually means and looks like from every, department of, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, all that. And so but I've just never been able to get to the platform. So, that's why it was really cool, Aaron, when you reached back out, because it's like, if we could just have one person watch this and know that we're cool, and we care about them, that might
Well,
make
just
a difference.
so you know, right now at this moment, you have 5 people watching it. So that's just right now.
Well, that's better than 1, brother. So we're 5 times the amount of people. That's awesome.
You know it exactly.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
1 by 1.
Oh, man. Well, what other things did you want to talk about?
Well, really, for me, is just I'm really glad to have met Mark and Mike as well. To see that especially Mark is out there even at a higher level of educating people. Is just making sure that we're just really super aware of what's going on around us. Because even at this stage in my life, I'm in my early 60s, and I'm kind of easing my way into a little more slower paced, comfortable life. But I'm still driven by every opportunity that comes by my face when it comes to veterans. There's a college here that I interviewed for Valor, their program. There are 200 veterans that are in this college or university that's in this Valor program. They interviewed me and did not hire me, probably because I'm in my 60s and I'm a white man, and this is a very liberal college. So, they love me. And then come to find out there's a 30-some-year-old lady, no offense, but she's not a veteran, and they hired her because she has degrees.
Of course.
I haven't heard a peep in a year since I've interviewed it. I haven't heard a peep about Valor. And my whole thing when I went through the interview process was about, what would you do? First, check their mental health. Check their mental health. Check their mental. You know what they wanted? You know what they kept jamming down my throat in the interview? And I interviewed all day with 5 different groups. Are you going to be able to help these people get into the designated groups that they need to be in, whether they're Black or trans or gay or whatever? Are you going to be able to make sure they have these safe spaces? And I'm like, wait. This is not this is probably why I didn't get the job. But it's like, no. Let's take care of their mental health. Let's look at them in a holistic fashion and then worry about what their identities are. You know what I'm saying? And so that's probably why I didn't get it, because God knew I'd blow that place up if I got in there. Not literally, but I mean, I would have rocked the liberal world, because I'm red, white, and blue, American patriot. You know what I'm saying? This is real. This is bullshit. Pick one. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't have fit in. I wouldn't have fit in. Nobody from there ever sees this, because I'll never get back in again. But, I care about, we care about the younger generation that's veterans. They're our future.
Oh, yeah.
And so, they're just, it needs our meeting. And so that's kind of off the rails a little bit as far as what else I wanted to talk about. Was just, I'm always up for a good conversation to educate people,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But that's one thing, Andrew, you've talked about, Mark's talked about, you've had other people on the podcast. Tom, I mean, it's like even these other organizations, the VFW, the Marine Corps League, they're losing this younger generation.
Yeah.
They've lost them. Sorry.
They've lost them. Yeah. They can't recruit them. There's such a disconnect between that and now. And I think that's a big thing that with, counseling, there's a lot of it is like, okay, well, you're not of the same breed as I was. It's like, no, bullshit. It's like, okay, we're all Marines. I was a Marine, but, we were all soldiers. We were all airmen. We were all, times change. And that's one thing we all have to accept. I see things on, social media and stuff, and I'm like, what the hell is that?
Yeah,
we've actually talked about it on this podcast, and it's like, okay, well, all right. Well, we've got to stop and look at, technology today and what, the current stance is in the world and how things are. It's different than it was 20 years ago. Even, from the Persian Gulf, and, the Persian Gulf War to the Iraq War to Afghanistan to even now, things have changed.
Oh, yeah.
We've got to, and that's a big thing. You said something about younger people. We've got to stop and, I don't claim I'm an old dude by any means. I'm 52 years old. I'm not as old as Mark. Mark, you were like, you're pushing 100 now.
70,
I think now,
70
Mark.
something.
I mean, but you're like Chesty Puller, but it's like, it's like, hey, how do we connect
my
with the
God.
younger generations? My when I went to Marine Corps in 1992, even in Iraq and that, you didn't dare say shit if you had a problem.
Yeah.
If you knew something was wrong,
Yeah.
you didn't talk about it. You just didn't say anything. And then all of a sudden somebody was like, oh, they said they had PTSD. And we was like, okay. But deep down inside, you knew something wasn't right with you.
Yeah.
But it was this extreme embarrassment to talk to people. To actually, because it was a career ender, at least in my opinion.
And it is.
I may be wrong.
Yeah, it's definitely gotten better.
Well, I hope it's gotten better.
It's gotten better.
Yeah, but I mean, it's this younger generation now. It's like, okay, how do us old geezers now sit and bring these younger people in? And it's like, hey, what can we do? Is that our job now? To be, try to be mentors in the process of trying to counsel them. Are they counseling us? I mean, is that something that we can do?
Yes, it's a little of both.
Yeah.
We have to get better with digital stuff, which we are on the cutting edge. Okay, maybe not cutting edge, but I mean, we're doing pretty good for a bunch of older folk right here, right now.
Yeah.
And this is the type of stuff that they can get into. They can listen to. They can interact with, and it's easier for them to do. I mean, they're busy. They got a wife. They got kids. They got jobs.
Yeah, they're a younger generation.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, my kids are grown,
but still, man,
how,
just like us.
How can how can we do that? I mean, how can we, like me, how can I help out?
Go ahead, Tom.
Aaron and I had a long conversation last time. I did the show the last time, and Aaron and I had a long conversation about the Marine Corps League because I was a member in Billings, and this is, you guys will get a kick out of this. I think I was 59 when I joined that, and they called me the young pup. So what does that tell you?
Right.
I mean, all these dudes were Vietnam vets. You know what I mean? And I went to several meetings, and I'm looking around. I'm like, you guys are really cool, and you can still drink beer like there's no tomorrow, and I respect that. But it just was there was that huge disconnect even for me in my late 50s. So let's don't even talk about 20s and 30s. But, the Marine Corps League, the Legion, I just joined AMVETS here because I just felt I needed to. They're all dying organizations. I mean, in the next 5 years, most of them is not even going to be around because all these people that are average age of 75, they're going to be leaving. And it's like, where are these younger people going to have to go? What are they going to be able to do? And so I think that's probably something. Aaron, you should just go ahead because I have mad respect for you. I'm very familiar with, because I've done TV and I've done radio and I've done podcasts and I've done all these other things. And I look at everything that you've built. You're pretty good for an old dude, man. I mean, you're really smart. You got it going on. You're like everywhere. I'm super impressed. But I'm still super impressed. But
all right, Mark.
Hey,
thanks for joining. Have a good one.
You too, Mark. I hope to see you again sometime. Semper Fi.
The last Fireside chat we had, I think, who was talking about the virtual detachments? Who was that?
I think it was Jess.
Was it Jess? Okay. Yeah. Virtual...
Jess and even Jim were talking about it.
Yeah. And that might be a way forward for the younger generation, because you can do a lot of things virtually. You can get on here, you have meetings, right? We all know we can do Zoom meetings and all that type of stuff. You can get on here, you can, if you say, hey, we need to do fundraising, guess what? You can do fundraising literally from the computer. You don't even have to go out and do it if you don't want to, but you can just put stuff online. As long as you have somebody that's tech savvy and can do it and put it in the right places, you're going to be able to do well. It's just a matter of, putting that together, I suppose.
Yeah, well, there's definitely a need, and it really broke my heart, man. That because I had so many ideas to with that Valor program. I mean, can you imagine 200 veterans that served and that are now out? You know, ranging from 20s to 30s. You know, some of them are you know, they're almost adults going back into that atmosphere where you know everything is sex, drugs, and rock and roll still, and you know they just came out of you know either combat or whatever the case may be. Still, the military again, hardwired for the military. And they don't even have a clue what they're talking about, you know, or what they're doing to meet these kids' needs. That right there, man, that's a YouTube. You need to put that on YouTube. That cat smacking you're going to get a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You get all the kids following you then. That was
She got mad at me. She jumped up in my lap, but there was this one in my lap. She was telling me that I don't accept. Man.
Correct.
But
yeah, this is good stuff, Aaron. I mean, I just encourage you, man, to keep doing what you're doing, because I mean, eventually, you know, I just could see this as being a avenue or a platform, you know, to be able to reach, you know, the younger generation, because we really do, man. I mean, interestingly enough, guys, I did research on, you know, the 22 a day, and you know, what are the age groups of the people that are, you know, in that 22, and interestingly enough, the vast majority of the suicides are in their 50s and 60s that are veterans, because they, you know, we think they're all coming out. The only ones that really get the news are the young people, you know, but they've come out and they fought this battle for, like, you know, for us, like 40 some years. I've been out 40 some years. I got out back in 84, but that many years. And then finally they're just like, man, I'm just done. And so, you know, it's not just a bunch of 20-some-year-olds running around, you know, doing that. And so I don't know, man. I don't know what the answer is. I would love to pick Mark's brain, because I would just love to find an avenue or someplace or somewhere that I could educate people on everything that my experiences. Like I said, I did, you know, the podcast Business News Network from New York. It's still on YouTube. And I mean, the stuff that I got into was absolute nuts and bolts. It was great information that I had put out, and like nobody really picked it up, and they didn't really promote it very much. And it really kind of was sad, because it's like that information of the history of moral injury and what it looks like and what it sounds like and what it feels like would really impact a lot of people's lives. But it's almost, and I mean, you guys tell me your opinions. It's almost like it's talked about so much, it's almost falling on deaf ears. 22 a day. It's like a t-shirt. No, it's not a t-shirt. It's lives. You know what I mean? It's like PTSD. You know, it's like the sun's shining, it's 85 degrees, and everybody's got PTSD. It's like everybody's numb to what's going on. And I don't know what that looks like.
I think a lot of this boils down to just one, and it's my number one thing that I talk about when it comes to leadership is, one, just give a shit. That's the very first thing.
Right.
And then two, you have to talk to somebody. So if I'm walking around, I should say, especially if I recognize somebody's a veteran, right? I should say something to that veteran. Hey, good morning. How are you doing? Or whatever. Strike up a conversation. It may not go anywhere. But then again, maybe it does. But if we as a veteran community start to engage more with everybody else around us, like get out of our shell, right? Like we're all walking around with the blinders. Let's open them up and look around. There's more to life than just us, and we can talk to other people. It's not that difficult. We learned how to do it in the military. We can do it now, you know?
Well, I think that's an older generation thing too. By no means are any of us old.
Yeah.
But, you know, as far as older generation
Marines,
I mean, you know, we didn't grow up with the connectivity that these guys have now, and that's one of the biggest things. Yeah, I've got Facebook, and I'll look at TikTok and crap like that, but I don't, you know, I just follow a couple things I want to follow, and Andrew posts, you know, the podcast, and I'll look at it and stuff like that. But, you know, we, as veterans, we didn't have that connectivity to be able to reach out. We didn't, you know, it's, you know, I'm not going to say the resources weren't there, but it's like the resources weren't right in our face.
Yeah.
to be able to, it's like, okay, well, something ain't right with me. I need to go do this, or I need to do that. You know, it was an embarrassment. Okay, if I say something's wrong or anything like that. And you were saying now that, you know, the veteran suicide is the older generation. What'd you say it was, Tom? It was like
40s.
50s. What did you say, Tom? It was
late 50s and 60s.
Oh, 50s.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
Late
they
50s,
don't.
60s. Yeah.
It's not to say they're not connected, but they're not connected the way, you know, these guys that, you know, were 20 some, 30 years old, even in their early 40s now at this point. You know, they grew up with the internet. They grew up with social media. They grew up. I didn't grow up with that. You know, and there's so many, and it's an excuse is what it comes down to. Is the resources are out there, but sometimes I'm too ignorant to actually go out and look for them.
I wouldn't say
well, here's an interesting thing that I found.
Stubborn. We're too stubborn to go and figure it out. Set in our ways.
There was like a Facebook page that I found a couple of years ago that I started, and the guy was a Navy veteran, and he started this Facebook page, and it was veteran something something something. Man, in no time, guys, it was up 500,000, 600,000 people on that thing. And I mean, there would be probably 11, 12 a day, people talking about ending it, and people were jumping in. They were doing welfare checks. We were communicating. And I'm not talking about kids, man. I'm talking about like us, our group, you know, people that have been out for a while, 40s and 50s and 60s. And it was the most unbelievable thing to be able to reach out and say, like, Mike is on there going, man, I just, today's a bad day. I'm not really sure if I'm going to make it. And to be able to IM him and say, Mike, listen, this is what's happening. And everybody was jumping in, and Facebook shut that thing down because they couldn't probably monetize off of it. You know what I mean? But it was the most amazing experience for the few months that it was on. But to show you the need for us to connect, I mean, in no time, this thing's 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. You know, and he got up to like almost 700,000 people. And then he came back out and said, you know, they're shutting this down because of whatever reason. And it's like, man, how sad is that? You know, they can't monetize off, they can't make money off of us. So they're going to shut our community down. And so, you know, the moral of that story is people will talk, as we said in the beginning, amongst ourselves. And we're there for ourselves because we understand. But somehow the world wants to kind of keep us, I don't know, just the way that it is. And
we're a bunch of monsters.
I just wish that there was.
That's how I feel sometimes. It's like we're a bunch of damn monsters. That's, you know, it's honestly how sometimes I feel. It's like, thank you for your service, but fuck you. You know, well, sometimes that's how I feel.
Well, I just love us jarheads because we always represent, man. I'm my car's got Semper Fi on the back of it. I mean, you know, we all pretty much have a flag somewhere, and you know, I've got a wardrobe of Marine Corps stuff. My ex-girlfriend was like, you know, one day she was like, man, you love your Marine Corps stuff, don't you? I'm like, yes, I do. And so we know each other. But I mean, I love when I pass, you know, another jarhead, especially the older guys. And I just met a sergeant major at a track meet the other day, and I walked by him and I was kind of in awe because I haven't seen the sergeant major, you know, chevrons forever. And I was just like in awe of him. And I said, Semper Fi. He goes, Semper Fi, Marine. And I'm like, man, always faithful, baby. That's just, but, you know, even the other veterans and stuff, you know, but to your point, Aaron, I met a guy a couple of months ago for the first time, and he's in his 70s, upper 70s, and he was a Marine because he's got his flag out front, right? And I was introduced to him, and kind of like you were saying, we were just having a conversation, and we were down at his house in his shop and stuff, and I just kind of went up to him quietly and said, "How are you? How are you doing?" And he looked at me, but he knew what I was saying, and he goes, And then my girlfriend's father was his best friend, had told me that, you know, he's flipped out in restaurants before, and he's in his 70s. He always sets to his back. He was combat. He was recon in NAM. And so he said he always sets in the back, and one day something crashed, and he jumped up and flipped out. And to think that he's gone through his entire life still in fight or flight breaks my heart. you know, because I know he's not probably sleeping that well. You know, and I know what's going on inside of his head. But, you know, like you were saying, I because of who I am, I will kind of cross paths. And I was going to go work at the Museum of the Marine Corps, and I went up and talked to Scott and those guys, and was good. It's just 2-hour drive for me, so I can't really put a lot of time into that. But he said the biggest thing that I would really like for you with your background is to just walk around, because there's guys that are triggered here often that would actually know what to do to help de-escalate. And I was really motivated, but it's just, you know, like I said, the 2-hour up and 2-hour back, that's 4 hours without even volunteering. And
that's half your day right there.
It really is. My heart's in the right place. I just don't have the time, but it is a great place. And if you're a Marine out there and you haven't been there, even if you're not a Marine, it's definitely worth to go to check it out, because it's super, super impressive. They did a great job.
And they're always
makes you really proud
and changing things around. It's really cool.
Yeah. Yes.
Speaking of that, Tom, I don't know if we talked about this the last time, but with all the podcasts, what we're doing is sending them up to Marine Corps History Division. So they're going to be archived up there.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's cool, man. That's really super cool. Well, I know that you're pretty influential. I mean, you got your hand on the Marine Corps League and, you know, the major Marine Corps organizations, you know, so I'm hoping that it will catch even more traction, and you'll be able to get, you know, your stuff out there to more and more and more people, and continue to grow your footprint, because that I know of, there's nothing else like this out there.
There are a couple other podcasters out there doing very similar things. There's a guy out in San Diego. He was a Marine as well. Then there's a couple of guys, Army guys, that we've had on our show a couple of times, but they're in North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken.
Was that Tracer Burnout?
Yeah, Tracer Burnout guys are over there. And there's a couple of them that are out there that do interviews and have them tell their stories and stuff like that. And then there's quite a few out there that do kind of like this. Tonight's podcast is like a fireside chat type of deal. But as far as the historical aspect, I guess we're the one that's really taking it to the next level with the historical stuff. So, and then hopefully we find out in the next month or so if we got the nonprofit. If we got the nonprofit, then we'll hopefully be able to do a lot more. So
that's really cool, man. Well, yeah, I definitely keep tracking you, because, and I respect that. You know, I respect that. This looks easy, but it's not really easy, especially from your aspect of running everything. Mike and I are cool. We can just pop in and be like, "What's up?" and then pop out. But yeah, you got to run all this stuff.
Yeah, it's not too bad, to be honest with you. The hardest part for me is probably uploading the stuff to the websites. That's the hardest part, just because it takes forever. And then sometimes my Wi-Fi will go out, and then I'm like, oh, and I got to start over. So it's a pain in the butt.
Hey, just stop and think, Tom, when I started with the podcast, and it's been, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I don't know how long you've been doing it. The first podcast I got on, I thought it was going to be video. Man, I got my iPad out, laptop out, and I was all ready to go, and it was just audio, and I was like, what the hell is this? You know, and I enjoyed it, but I actually sent Andrew a thing, and I was like, hey, man, I was like, you know, I think this would be a lot more fun. And I don't think I was the only one that said something about it.
No, you weren't. No.
But it was like, hey, you know, can we do video? Yeah, you can hear a voice, but until you see a face.
Oh, yeah, to see the facial expressions, to see somebody laugh, or to see somebody, you know, frown or make a upset face.
You know, just laugh, or, you know, I've never met Mark. I hope soon to get back out to the West Coast and meet Mark. You know, it's like Vic, it's on the podcast in South Carolina. I've met Vic in the Marine Corps, but it's been years, you know, to actually see his face. Or Aaron is down in Florida.
Yeah.
Or Jim, it's in, you know, Knoxville, Tennessee. Or, you know, even, you know, Andrew has an Air Force guy, Ryan, you know, out in Bellingham, Washington. You know, is a Air Force guy, police veteran, you know, actually got a Medal of Honor from the state of Washington because he got shot in the face. You know,
Good
you
gosh.
know, now he's in nursing school, you know, to see his face, you know, to see, you know, Jess in North Dakota, you know, another Marine, you know, it's like, I've never met the majority of these people, but I feel like I've met you to be able to see you and actually talk. And like Andrew was
Yes.
saying, you know,
Oh yeah.
we'll sit there. Next thing you know, somebody says something. It's like everybody's bent over backwards laughing, and
Yeah.
even though we'll mute it or something
Yeah.
like that. But you know, and that's the thing that Andrew's done with this podcast is just to bring people
Yeah.
together. You know, it's people that I knew that Andrew did know, but we served in the same place at different times that he's interviewed, and to see how they've connected.
I mean, word of mouth is huge.
You know, and it's just absolutely, yeah. The
That's what
one,
it is. Yeah.
the one was talking crap about me from 29 Palms, you know, and of course I had to message him and say, hey, F you too, Noah, but hope he's watching this one tonight. But, you know, it was just, you know, and that's the biggest thing. And that's what we as veterans, you know, we've got to get over this stigma of talking. We've just got to talk. Sometimes you got to laugh. Sometimes we've agreed on this podcast to disagree. You know, sometimes things have gotten a little squirrely, but you know, we've all gotten on the same page of, man, we're all in this together. Let's just talk. You know, and we'll sit there and text, or somebody will send something stupid. You know, and it's just like, hey, and it's been therapeutic for me. And that's one of the biggest things that I alienated myself from all of it for a long time. And Andrew can attest to this. But, you know, it's like, hey, Andrew asked me to be on it, come on the podcast. And I was like, I'm not doing it. He's like, dude, just come on, man. I was like, I'm not doing it. He's like, come on, man. Just come on. I was like,
I have a
okay.
way of just hounding people until they finally submit. If you say it enough, they'll submit.
Yeah. But anyways, Tom, I was in a band. I don't know if Andrew has ever told you what he did in the Marine Corps. But
surely I did.
Yeah. We served in the band, the 1st Marine Division band to get in Iraq. I went in 03. I was a clarinet player and then transitioned out of that into instrument repair. But Andrew was the big guns, man. He was a damn drum major. He was the one out there pumping the Mason parades and
it's the big stick, man. Big stick.
Doing stuff like that. But, you know, we served in Iraq together in 04.
Look at that.
Had some interesting times.
You see those two pictures?
Yeah.
That I would zoom
in,
but I don't know how to do it. The one on
that's all good.
This side, that one is a parade with the 2nd Marine Division band somewhere in North Carolina. And then that one that's the pass and review for the I think it was the 350th or 250th anniversary of the Royal Marines, something like that. I can't remember exactly.
Wow.
But it was their big beating retreat is what they called it. So it was pretty cool.
Wow.
Got to do that in London.
The interesting thing about that is I'm a drummer. I wished I'd have thought about that. I'm sorry, my recruiter never said anything to me about the band. I guess he missed that part, but I'd have jumped on it. But there was a kid who played drums. I went to a huge church in Billings, and there was this kid who played drums. And I mean, freckle face and scrawny and hair. And he told me he's going to go in the Marines. And I looked at him. I'm like, yeah, you are. And he goes, no, I'm going in the band. And I'm like, oh. And you know what's been awesome, guys? He's now a gunny, and he's been in pushing 20 years. And I watched him go in, get through boot camp, all of his pictures. He's played in I don't know how many bands when he's off. Because I'm like, okay, so you go play in the band during the day with the Marine Corps, then you go play in your bands at the evening, and you got a beautiful wife and a beautiful family, and you're a gunny. And I'm like, dude, you're living the dream, brother. I missed that boat, but it's just so cool to personally see this kid.
Who is it? What's his name?
Adam Tibbetts. He's from Billings, Montana. Really tall. Yeah, really tall, skinny guy. But I mean, anyway, it was just kind of cool to see he's had a Marine Corps career, and he's going to retire who knows when. But I mean, he's a gunny, and he's in the Marine Corps band. And I'm like, dude, and he sends all the pictures, and I'm like, okay, I was in supply and logistics. There's nothing to see here. You know what I mean? So, really happy for him.
I wouldn't say
Really
that.
happy for
I
him.
mean, you guys did some
True.
crazy crap. So,
Oh man.
yeah.
Well, I always tell everybody, man, it's nothing. It wasn't anything fancy, but if it wasn't for me, you guys wouldn't have anything. So
That's true. That is
when you're in the
100%
field and
true.
all your stuff works,
You got
will
to
not forget
keep
me.
your supply bubbles. You got to keep those guys close at hand. Anybody with the resupply, we got to keep you close.
Well, I will actually bitch and moan about that. In 03, we went to Iraq. We didn't have chow for 2 weeks, so something was wrong there.
That was not supply. That was the chow hall dudes, I think, right there. Because
no,
there
was no chow hall. It was like, where the hell's the MREs? We were told to take a month's worth of MREs with us, and where's the chow? And it's like, it ain't coming.
Well, that's what you get for going so fast.
And that was, right. You got to slow up, man. I mean, we're getting there.
You can't be
but
that
I just
good.
met a guy not too long ago. I was in Lejeune when I got out of Paris Island, and then I got orders to go to Kaneohe Bay. So I basically ran the supply battalion for the Air Wing in Kaneohe Bay. And the craziest thing, Aaron, I met a guy not even a month ago. And, us jarheads were always like, where were you stationed? We got to give our quick little elevator pitch. And, and I told him, I was like, I was in supply in Kaneohe Bay. He goes, I was in Kaneohe. And we were there we missed each other by like a year. And it was just insane because it's so small, such a tiny little base. You never, ever meet anybody from there. And I mean, we were like a year, we missed each other in Kaneohe Bay. And, that was living in Hawaii for 2 years. Yeah, nice. That was a good time. Yeah, I always tell everybody somebody had to do it. I'm just glad it was me.
Yeah, I call Hawaii the island that will not be named because my orders got canceled and I was not happy. But that's okay.
Yeah, I remember that story.
Yeah. They got me all jacked up and excited. Got my wife excited, and then they were like, yeah, you got selected for promotion. It's not happening. You're moving somewhere else. So that's how it worked out for me.
So, Aaron, were you a first sergeant? Is that what you were?
No, I was I ended up master guns.
What? Master, because I got called in the first sergeant, which is never a good thing, ever. This dude called me in, and he was an asshole. All caps, all bold letters. Everybody was terrified of him, and he called me in when I got my orders into his office and told me to sit down. And man, he started ripping me up one side and down the other. I had no idea what I had done. And so after he finished ripping me at whole brand ass, he goes, all right, Smith, all that said and done, son, you're going to Hawaii. Congratulations. Have fun. Man,
he just had to get it out.
Ran down my legs, the whole 9 yards. Everything inside of me just fell apart, man. I was so terrified that I was in trouble. And this dude ended up, after he just ripped me, giving me a hard time, congratulating me and told me to go have fun. Man, I thought I won the lottery. 19-year-old kid from Waynesboro, Virginia, that's going to Hawaii. And I got my orders because I was on mess duty with a shitbird named Johnny, who was an orders clerk, who asked me one night drunk, where do I want to go? And I said, Hawaii. And a month later, 3051 orders came running down there with my name on them from this little dude. And that's how I got to go to Hawaii.
What are you talking about? Hey, pays to know somebody.
Yeah.
Even if he was a shitbird.
But anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can go ahead and wrap this one up. Thank you very much, Tom, for coming on. When I do this outro, don't hang up on me. I'm going to pull us back once it goes out. But thanks for doing this. Truly appreciate it. Hopefully you had a good time. I know I had a good time. I don't know about Mike.
Obviously.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Mike had a good time.
Nice
We're good. But I'll close this one out the same way I always do. But I'm going to give you just a second if you want to say any last words before we close this one out.
Just man, from one veteran to another, there's always hope, man. Don't ever give up. You're special, you're different, you're unique. God made all of us for the purpose, and you just got to find yours, and just one day at a time, one day, one step at a time. And when it gets bad, just remember that day you just got to get through it. Don't worry about tomorrow. There's nothing you do with your past. Just live with hope and optimism, that you live in a good world and you just have to make it the best that you can. I did. So can you. Really.
Absolutely. No, good word. Good word. Thanks again, Tom. Much appreciated. To all the listeners out there, if you're struggling,
Yeah, man,
need help,
thank you.
anything like that, say that again.
Yes. Yes, I was going to say, please give them that information. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. To all the listeners, you can always get help. Dial 988, press option 1. You always text 838-255 or go to veteranscrisisline.net. Click on that chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. These two guys care about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you served with. Ask them how they're doing. And if they need that helping hand,
Yes.
please give it to them. All right, fellas, one last time. Thank you very much. Don't hang up on me. And to everybody out there, stay motivated. Change your socks.
No more 22. Honor the journey and finish the fight.